Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Founders Log. I am your host, Calvin Wineland. We are with episode number 6 today, April 8th, 2020. I am very excited to continue to progress today in the Founders Log with our 6th iteration of these episodes. Today, as you guys can see in the topic of conversation, we're going to be talking entirely about Shopify, things that I've learned along the process, thus just getting to where I am today, right now. Eventually, we'll get into the whole website development and the back burner of website graphics. But for now, I just want to talk to you briefly about my own experience with Shopify. How do I go about Shopify? What is Shopify, and how does it actually going to work here for American Butcher's Jerky? And so without further ado, let's begin. So Shopify, for those of you who do not know what it is, it's an e-commerce company based out of Canada is where they're originally from. There's a few others examples of these e-commerce platforms, which is basically the commerce of selling goods through online platforms. This works great for us because we are selling beef jerky online. We're not in stores right now. We're not doing anything retail related except for this e-commerce just as of now. But what e-commerce does is it allows us to specifically put our product online, sets up a website, and Shopify acts as that entire platform. So it serves us the ability to place our product on their website. They schedule everything from the shipping to the packages. They create the labels for you, and then you, of course, take your product, put it in a box, take their label, and ship it off. So it's nice. Everything is in-house on the Shopify end. Why did I look at going through Shopify versus a few others? Like, for example, BigCommerce is a popular one. Cartel, I believe, is another platform of these e-commerce. Wix has a very small e-commerce platform. And the big reason that I saw was Shopify seems to be making their biggest impact in the market right now. They put on a lot of promotional for a lot of businesses that I seem to have followed, and a lot of veteran-run businesses, things that I've followed along for my own business objectives, some of the businesses that I followed to kind of be that golden goose of what I'm trying to get along with, they all use Shopify. So BPN, Bear Performance Nutrition, they use Shopify. Companies like Combat Flags is another great company that I'm trying to look at, trying to follow. And then finally, Black Rifle Coffee Company. All these companies use Shopify, and I think they just find it to be the most easy and effective way of producing e-commerce goods, and that's why they've ultimately chosen Shopify. Now, let's just get into my own experience with Shopify thus so far. This is not an expert's opinion. I am just someone who has recently gotten in brand new with Shopify and trying to see how it works, things that I could do differently, just giving you guys an insight as to how you should go about handling Shopify, and just my own personal experience. Now, if we get onto Shopify originally, the very beginning, it is very simple to get set up. In order to establish your own base front, there is a great kind of follow along path guideline for customers to follow, customers of Shopify being business owners. There's a great platform for them to help set up in regards to setting up a business, getting the name, getting the domain, getting graphics, and really just the foundation principles of starting the business. And there are great blogs and platforms already written, kind of highlighting the beginner atmosphere of doing Shopify. And I actually, when I was starting this business, I followed along one of Shopify's guides to starting your own e-commerce business. It was just very much outlined on this is the steps, this is what you should do. And I really just getting the actual foundation probably took about 25 minutes. Now I've definitely put a lot more work into the back theme and design of the entire website, but just initially running, it is great. Shopify also gives you the option to set up a domain through them. I went through a third party and set up a domain on domain.com, and then combined the two and basically rerouted my domain to be on Shopify. I just found it to be a little cheaper, and being a small business with a very limited source of funds, I'm just trying to make my money go as far as possible. And speaking of saving money, Shopify's 14 days is an excellent way to really just give yourself that time to decide if this is really the route you want to go. Before you fully immerse any actual income or revenue into the business on the Shopify part, you can go through and spend 14 days working around the design of your website, trying to figure out all the things before you actually have to pay any money. So that was really cool. I utilized all 14 days of my free plan, and then I actually went through and purchased the smallest plan that Shopify has. It's $30 a month plus applications and additional fees, which I'm sure will have to be a different target of altogether. But for now, things that I've just going through the Shopify tab and looking here on my computer while I'm talking about this, setting up the pages and doing the online theme store. Just the biggest thing I can recommend is setting up your key pages. So for example, on our specific website, I have the home page, each product page, I have our blog page, and I have our about page, which talks about the frequently asked questions, a little history about our business, etc. And those are your more key pages that you want to post on your website. And then once you've gone through, and I thought this was actually very funny, was Shopify recommends that you get the core pages down that you want on your website and then focus your attention on the actual design. So they stress the importance of filling out the information regarding your product, getting all your products upline, getting your history and what the information you actually want to talk about is before you go to their themes. And then once you're on their theme section, this is basically like the skin. If you look at like the human body, they pretty much set you up with the skeleton and you fill out all the skeleton information. And then what they do is they provide all of the outward features. So they design their templates, their themes to match your creativity. So they have a bunch of paid platform designs already established and a few free ones. Now, if you have the money and sourcing in your income, I would definitely spend the time looking at trying to go for a prepaid, like buying a theme, because they are much better designed, but you have more creativity with it. You can mess around with things a lot more. But I just went ahead and did a free theme, and that worked out great for us and what I needed. And I think that's honestly what you need, is just look at trying to figure out the free platform, and then as you need, you can mitigate and increase down the road. But for now, it is better to at least have something than nothing. And I'll go in and talk about what I mean by having something a little later in this little founder's log here. One of the cool features that I also want to highlight about Shopify, and just when you're originally trying to create the theme and looking at the design and trying to get the backworks done, is on Chrome at least, I have two programs built in on my extension. These two programs are called, one is specifically called Shopify Inspector, and then the other one is a Shopify Theme Detector by FERA.ai. And what these two programs do on my Chrome is, for example, if I go to another Shopify website, I can click on these extensions and it'll tell me what the theme is of that specific website. And then it'll talk about what apps are being used in that specific website. Now, applications, what they do is they give you basically these additional perks to creating your website. They give you certain things that allow your website to have unique features. Some of these are a monthly subscription plan. Some of these are just free to use. It really kind of depends on what you're looking for, but there are over 300 apps that all increase your website or do different things for your website. A few that I've just noticed that I have on our specific website that I'll just highlight in this blog right now is back in stock, which is great for highlighting to customers when we are out of a product. They will automatically, depending on if they sign up for their email, they will get a back in stock email saying, hey, we've released more of this product. It's back in stock. Why don't you check it out and let us know if you want to purchase anything? Another great one is Instafeed. It allows me to incorporate my Instagram feed into my website. So on the homepage of our website, if you scroll down to the bottom, there's a rotational feed of as we post Instagram pictures, they get cycled on our website. So that is a really unique, cool feature. Another one is a pop-up feature that we have that allows when you go on to certain websites, or for example, if you come to our specific website and your first time on our page, a pop-up will click on and it'll say, hey, check out our newsletter. What this does is it helps us build an email campaign and allows us to grow the email connections that we have. And that pop-up is the first kind of hello, welcome message that people get towards our website. Just looking at other things, I've used a form builder to allow us to create custom forms when we put them on our website. That is just something that we've used for our blogs and helps us get the iteration of that, which I'll talk more about the inner works of blogging and stuff down the road. But that kind of correlates the app background of what we're wanting to do. Now, just to get back on track with Shopify, one of the cool things that Shopify allows customers to do who have done a paid plan. So the minute you actually put that money down, I was actually experiencing a little design issue and I was trying to figure it out, couldn't figure it out. And Shopify did a great job in which I called them and I said, hey, I'm trying to get this to look like this, and I can't do the coding personally. I tried to do the coding on my end. It turned into a giant mess, and they were actually very gracious to help. And Shopify does an hour-long creative design, so they'll spend an hour for free for you to go in and tell them what you want, and you're going to show them, and then they will basically get it done, create it for you, and they will shoot you an email when it's officially finished. So that was really cool. Some don't offer that feature, and so Shopify was really cool when they gave me that free hour and effectively solved the problem that I was having, made my life a lot easier, and tried to figure out that stuff. Now, let us talk a little bit about the negative side effect that I am seeing just with Shopify so far. Things that I don't necessarily like, but have made my life a little strenuous. And I think that honestly starts with the whole design aspect. When it comes to the Shopify design on the free themes, you cannot design it as if you wanted to basically create yours from scratch. If you didn't have any coding experience, they're very limited on the actual design ability of your website. And I think that can be a really big challenge because if any of you have ever worked with Shopify, if any of you have ever worked with Wix or Weebly, I think is another one. But these are these website platforms that allow you to drag in things, make a website very much designed to your ability. And Shopify on the free themes, at least for the theme that I'm using, doesn't really give you that much playroom in the design of how you want your website. It's very, here's 5 options that you want to do for your website. That is all we are going to try and give you. And unless you have any real coding experience, which I took a coding class in college and that was about it. If you have very good coding knowledge, then yes, you are by all means can go in the back works of the coding. You can code your own specific design, drop it in, and life is easy. But for those of us who don't really have any coding experience, that can be a real challenge because you're trying to get this design, you're trying to play around with it, and it doesn't quite sync the gears up like you want it to. So that is a real challenge that I saw. And that correlates really to the topic that I was going to talk about earlier that I pushed off here to the back burner. But that is really focusing on realizing that it is better to have something than it is to have nothing. when I was starting this website about 3.5 weeks ago now, 3.5 weeks, I was focusing so much on the design aspect that I was really worrying. I was really putting much unnecessary attention because I was trying to make it perfect. And I realized that one, I was getting frustrated, and two, I was spending way more time on areas that necessarily didn't need all the attention that I gave it. And I needed to focus on trying to get the actual general whole gist of the website completed. And as soon as I realized that it is important to get all the aspects done at a good standard rather than an amazing standard, as I progress down the road with our American Butcher's Jerky, I will be able to do a lot more with the creativity and the design and getting specialized people to help and develop that design aspect. But I couldn't get any of that done until I've actually published my website. And in order to actually publish the website, I needed to make more of an indent into the rest of the website. So I took that on myself. I've designed a lot more parts of the website. And honestly to say, there are a few things left that I have that still need to be touched on. But I'm very pleased with how the website has continued to evolve and continued to get us to where we are now. So that is really Shopify in a nutshell. I didn't talk anything about the paid platform, adding money, adding a lot more details to the Shopify, only because I'm brand new and I'm still trying to learn all of these things. So as I progress and finally launch my store, I will have to do a part 2 of this little founder's log and talk about my experience with the part 2 of Shopify. But for now, that is really just the intro to setting up my own store, some of the experiences that I've had with it, and some of the downsides that I've seen. I hope that this has helped any of you and really just kind of made a better solution for yourself, and seen that even for someone who doesn't know quite what they're doing, taking baby steps is still better than taking no steps. So thank you. Hope that you all have a great day, and I'm just going to leave you there. Bye-bye.